Learn all must-know glossary terms for CompTIASecurityPlus, SY0-701. Part 3.
This is encryption. This is the method of turning information into a secret, coded version. It makes the data unreadable unless you have the right key or algorithm to decode it.
Encryption algorithm. This is an algorithm designed to hide data, so the information becomes unreadable unless you use a specific decryption key. These are the rules or established requirements that tell an organization exactly how data must be both secured and then decoded. This describes the point in a hardware product's lifespan when its manufacturer decides to stop providing support for it. Endpoint detection and response (EDR). This is a cybersecurity tool that looks inward, mainly focused on analyzing what is happening inside the endpoints, checking things like processes, how files change, and internal registry settings. This log gives us detailed records about the activities occurring on specific, separate devices, like computers or smartphones, which are connected to a larger network. Enforcing baselines. This is a positive outcome of using automation, where you apply the minimum necessary security controls to a system, making sure there is a standard level of security everywhere in the organization's structure. Enumeration. This is the active procedure of figuring out what assets are inside a setting and then charting them out, showing exactly how they relate to one another and rely on each other. This is an environmental threat, either caused by nature or by people, that impacts the physical setting in which operational systems are running. Environmental variable. In security contexts, this is a particular factor or condition inside an organization's setting for operations that might change how strongly a vulnerability can impact things. Ephemeral credentials. These are temporary credentials that appear automatically, designed only to be used for one particular task or operating session. Eradication. This is a stage in responding to an incident where you work to remove the original cause of the problem, whether it's malicious code or access that wasn't approved, so the threat is fully eliminated. Escalate. This means sending a ticket onward to someone with greater knowledge or authority inside the organization so they can take the next steps. This is the act of spying, usually done to get hold of information that is meant to be confidential or secret. Ethical. This means performing actions that match up with behavior standards that have been generally accepted. This refers to the specific documents and results that come from the audits that were performed internally within a vendor's organization. Examination. This is a form of outside audit that happens frequently to confirm specific statements an organization has made regarding claims or compliance with rules. Exception or exemption. This describes a problem that comes up when we agree to accept certain vulnerabilities because of either business requirements or limitations set by technology. Execution. This is the process where you start using training modules, turn on monitoring tools, and launch practice attacks or simulated exercises. Expansionary risk appetite. This is how willing an organization is to take on more risk so they can take advantage of opportunities for growth. Exposure factor. This is the measurement as a percentage of the damage or loss a company would experience if one of its specific assets were successfully compromised. Extended detection and response, XDR. This is a cybersecurity solution that provides a complete, overall view of security by linking together data from many different network layers and channels. Extensible Authentication Protocol, EAP. This is a widely available framework for verifying identity, which is often used together with 802.1x. External audit. This is an assessment of an organization's daily work, including how it handles cybersecurity, that is carried out by groups originating outside of the organization itself. External compliance monitoring.
These are the actions and systems involving outside third parties who evaluate if an organization is properly following applicable laws, rules, and standards. External compliance reporting. This is a type of compliance reporting that helps your organization stay accountable by focusing on whether you are following those standards and rules that come from outside.
External considerations. These are the factors outside your organization that actually influence how your security governance is shaped. Factor. Think of this as a distinct category of credentials that is used in the multi-factor authentication process to confirm who the user actually is. This describes a failure mode where if just a part of the system fails, the entire system then becomes completely locked off, or it simply shuts down entirely. This describes a failure mode where if a part of the system breaks down, the remainder of the system is still accessible and stays open. Failover testing. This type of testing involves shifting how operations work from a main system over to a backup system. It helps us evaluate if the organization can keep working, even when a critical system breaks down. False negative. This is when there is a real threat present, but it unfortunately goes completely unnoticed. False positive. This is a signal indicating that some activity is actually a threat, when in reality it is not a threat at all. This is the process where one system takes responsibility for authenticating a user. That first system then sends a message to a second system, confirming the user's identity and verifying that the authentication worked properly. This simply means you are encrypting individual files that are stored on a disk. File integrity monitoring. This is a security process that involves actively checking files to see if they have been changed or altered in any way. This refers to threats that involve using common files like documents, spreadsheets, or PDFs to secretly carry scripts that could cause harm. Financial gain. This is simply the intention that someone has to increase their own wealth. A fine is a monetary penalty, and often it is the most immediate and noticeable result you face when you fail to comply. A firewall is a network security device or software that carefully monitors both incoming and outgoing network traffic. It decides whether specific traffic should be allowed or blocked based on security rules that have been set. This is a firewall log. This is a log that makes it possible for you to monitor all the traffic that was either allowed or denied as it went through your network's firewall. This refers to a weakness found in the specific kind of computer software that gives low-level control over the functions of a device's hardware. Forgery attack. This is an attack that tricks users into performing actions they didn't actually mean to do, such as cross-site request forgery. This usually happens without the user knowing or agreeing to it. This is full disk encryption. This is a cryptographic method that takes care of encrypting the entire hard drive, and that includes all the data, files, and even the operating system itself. These are the funding resources that a threat actor is able to ooze and leverage to support all of their activities. This is a strategic planning tool that is used to evaluate the difference between how things are right now, which is the current state, and the state you would ideally like them to be in. A gateway is a specialized server that quietly acts as an intermediary, sitting between your email infrastructure and the outside world. This is a machine that provides power to devices and spaces during a total loss of power. It can also be used in any area where standard electrical service is simply not available. Geographic dispersion. This means spreading out a company's compute resources geographically. For instance, putting a data center or resource center at least 50 miles away from the main campus data center. Geographic restriction. This simply refers to a limit that is placed on accessing data based entirely on the user's geographic location. Geolocation. This is the process where we identify or estimate the real-world geographic location of a person or object. We base this on digital information, like GPS coordinates. Group policy. It is a framework that lets administrators set up detailed rules or policies, which dictate how an operating system and its various applications should act. These are automated rules or safety measures established inside a system. They restrict or control activities that might be harmful or that might not follow the security policies. Guideline. This is a general recommendation intended to steer how an organization behaves and makes decisions. This is someone who hacks to promote a political agenda, achieve social change, or carry out full cyberterrorism. This is the process of making the security defenses stronger for various kinds of computing resources so they can resist attacks. These are systematic measures we take to reduce vulnerabilities and minimize the attack surface of systems. This is a vendor or supplier who provides physical equipment for a computing environment. Hardware Security Module, HSM. This is a physical device that is used to provide cryptographic operations securely. This is the process of changing data into a character string that has a fixed length. We typically do this to verify that the data has integrity. High availability. This is a design approach that makes sure a system or application stays operational and accessible for a long period, often shown as an uptime percentage. This is a file used as baitment to lure adversaries. If someone accesses it, it sends an alarm to the security analysts. This is a network that is set up with vulnerabilities on purpose to divert attackers away from the real network. It could be one or more computers, servers, or a network area, and we use it when just one honeypot is not efficient. This is a honeypot. Dissect or deflect unauthorized attempts to use information systems. It is usually a single computer, but sometimes it might be a file, a group of files, or an area of unused IP address. This is a honey token. This is a piece of data acting as bait for intruders. When someone accesses or uses it, this signals an alert about unauthorized activities. Host-based firewall. This is a firewall made of software that we install directly onto individual devices. Host-based intrusion prevention system, IPS. This is an intrusion prevention system made of software that offers real-time protection against threats, whether known or unknown. It does this by monitoring how the host system behaves, and if suspicious activity is found, it can block it or alert administrators to potential attacks. This is almost a duplicate of the organization's original site, and it can become fully operational in just minutes, or perhaps a little longer. This is data that we can easily understand without needing a machine to interpret it. Hybrid and remote work environments. These are work models that support working in remote office locations and in office locations. They also support working while on the go, or working in a less formal, small office or home office setting. This is a hybrid cloud. This is an architecture that integrates both public and private cloud services. This makes it easier to share applications and data between them. Identification method. This is a foundational technique used in vulnerability management. It is designed specifically to locate, identify, and document any security flaws in the organization's digital ecosystem. This is the process an organization uses to verify the identity of a system or a user. Image-based. These are threats that involve exploiting or maliciously manipulating digital images. This is done to deliver or hide malware, carry out phishing activities, or execute other types of harmful actions. Term: impact. Definition: when we talk about risk analysis, this is the potential results or effects an organization might experience if a certain threat becomes real. Impact analysis. This is the evaluation process where we look at the possible effects that changes might have on the security environment of an organization. Implementation of secure protocols. This involves creating secure, encrypted paths for sending data. This creation is always based on three main things we choose: the protocol, the port, and the way we select the transport method. Implicit trust zones. These are parts of the network where we assume security simply because of their location or where they are positioned within that network. Improving reaction time. This is a helpful outcome of automation, meaning we can decrease how long it takes to respond after we have security incidents or other kinds of operational events. Inability to patch. This means a system just cannot effectively receive crucial security updates. This is a severe issue across all architectures, and it can cause vulnerabilities, lead to data breaches, and result in system downtime. Incident response policy. This is a policy that simply outlines the necessary steps and procedures we need to follow whenever a cybersecurity incident takes place. Independent assessment. This is an evaluation that is performed by a third-party organization, meaning that group is not directly involved in the business operations of the vendor being assessed. Independent third-party audit. This is a type of outside audit performed by an organization that simply has no special or personal interest in what the final audit result turns out to be. This is one of many behaviors, patterns, or unusual events that, when we notice them, could suggest unauthorized access, the presence of malware, or other kinds of cyber threats. Industry organizational impact. This refers to the possible consequences a security weakness might have outside the direct limits of the entity where we found it, perhaps influencing the larger market or sector where that organization does business. Information security policy. This is a policy that explains the guidelines and the necessary procedures for keeping an organization's data and its technology assets safe and protected. Information sharing organization. This is a group, like an ISAC, that works as a central point where companies can both give and receive useful information about threats. Infrastructure. This is simply the physical or virtual resources that are set up to support the technology and the people working within an organization. Infrastructure as code, IAC. This means handling the management and setup of computer data centers using definition files that a machine can read, instead of setting up physical hardware or using interactive tools to configure them. Infrastructure monitoring. This is the ongoing process of watching over all the systems, applications, networking equipment, and the data centers and cloud services where all the necessary resources are kept. Initial reporting. These are the immediate steps we take to document what happened and communicate the incident's details to everyone who needs to know. Injection attack. This is an attack that happens when harmful data is put into a command or a query, and the application mistakenly runs that data as if it were legitimate. Inline monitoring. This is the process of putting a security device, like a firewall or an intrusion detection system, directly into the path where network traffic flows. Input validation. This is the very first thing we do to check the type and the actual content of the data that has been provided by either a user or an application. Insider threat. This describes a security risk that actually originates from someone or something within the organization itself. This means installation of endpoint protection. This means putting security solutions in place that are specifically designed to secure user devices, known as endpoints, such as computers, smartphones, and tablets. Integrated penetration testing. This is a complete and balanced approach that brings together the proactive parts of offensive testing with the reactive components of defensive testing. We also call this purple teaming. Integrations and application programming interfaces, APIs. This refers to how different computing services and software applications are automatically linked so they can work together as one smooth system. This is often made possible through APIs, which allow the various software entities to communicate. Integrity.
This is the part of the CIA triad that is responsible for making sure data remains accurate, consistent, and reliable across its entire existence or life cycle.
Thank you for watching.